All right, listen up. Welcome, new Dream Night aspirants, to your very first comprehensive explainer on mastering your sigils. I am absolutely thrilled to be your mentor today and guide you through this because, frankly, understanding the source material could quite literally be the difference between victory and defeat on the battlefield. Your sigil is your greatest tool. It's your ultimate weapon. And honestly, it's the truest reflection of exactly who you are. So grab your notes, focus up, and let's get ready to unlock your true potential.
Here is your syllabus for today's Masterclass. Impression to Ideal, Balancing Elemental Backlash, Dormant versus Active States, the 7 Sigil classes, and finally, Mastering Multicellular Joints. We've got a highly structured journey ahead of us, taking you all the way from the philosophical birth of your power straight through to executing explosive, high-stakes tactical team combat. Let's get into it.
Section 1, From Impression to Ideal. We are going to start with the absolute foundation, which is the psychological process of how a sigil is actually born. It is so fascinating how a simple, abstract thought evolves step by step until it physically materializes. You see, it starts as just a mere impression, a lingering feeling or a guidepost shaped by your life experiences. Then, when you make a conscious effort to really hold on to that impression, it deepens into a goal. From there, as you push hard to make that goal a reality, it turns into a dream. Now, when you are pushed to the absolute brink and find yourself willing to defend that dream against anyone who demeans it, that is when you forge conviction. And finally, when that conviction fully embodies everything you are, it becomes your ideal. At that exact moment, boom, you gain the ability to pull that abstract concept right into the physical world. Your sigil is born, a literal physical conductor of your identity. Now here's the catch. Possessing a powerful sigil requires perfect balance between two extremes. Relying purely on faith and intense belief makes you kinda like a child who has just been handed a cannon. Sure, it's incredibly powerful, but it's completely useless if you don't actually comprehend how to practically apply it. On the other side, mastering the exact techniques and applications without true conviction in your ideal leaves your attacks entirely devoid of force. Your strikes will just diffuse, and eventually you'll just hit an insurmountable wall. So you absolutely must hone both your belief and your precision. Section 2, Balancing Elemental Backlash. Let's see how that foundation builds into our next critical lesson, which is surviving the raw power of your own elemental affinities.
Okay, this is a brutal reality check, so pay close attention. Every single element has both destructive and generative properties. Fire gives life-sustaining warmth, right? But it also causes catastrophic wildfires. Prioritizing combative destruction without mastering your supportive elemental applications first is literally like grabbing a boiling pan of water with your bare hands. The backlash of that raw energy will scald you. You have to build a supportive foundation first, using those generative properties as a napkin or an insulator to lift that pan safely. This quote right here from Master Fenrir perfectly summarizes the stakes. You must use your supportive capabilities as an insulator to brace against elemental backlash. It's like a scale. If 2 people with equivalent weight stand on either side, the scale holds steady. You have to perfectly balance your combative and supportive techniques, or you seriously risk destroying yourself with your own attacks.
Section 3, Dormant versus Active States. Now that we understand balance, we need to examine how your sigil physically transforms when you actually face life or death scenarios. There is a massive difference between your baseline physical tool and your most lethal asset. In low-risk situations, your sigil sits in its dormant state. Think of it like a unicellular organism. In the hands of a novice, it's basically a toy sword, though, to be fair, highly skilled knights can still deal devastating physical damage with it. But when fatalities are highly probable, your sigil shifts into the active state. Here, it evolves into a complex multicellular organism, which dramatically increases its precision and vast functionalities. In these high-fatality situations, your sigil activates to channel your raw elemental affinities directly. It stops being just a physical tool and unlocks peculiar elemental-driven properties. For instance, Dream Night Eye's oceanic blades actually gain a heteromorphic trait, allowing her to fluidly shift between the 3 states of water. Or take Concordia's sigil, Kraken Andromeda, which morphs into a barrage of arrows as numerous as particles of air. This active state is where your specific elemental nature truly takes the reins. Section 4, the 7 Sigil Classes.
Understanding this physical evolution perfectly sets us up to discuss how power scales dynamically.
There are 7 predominant sigil classes: individual, family, tribal, organizational, national, world, and universal. As you progress from the individual class, which functions a lot like your own human skeleton and nervous system, all the way up to universal, your sheer magnitude and power absolutely skyrocket. But here is the secret. That scale is based entirely on the number of people maintaining the sigil and the invisible connections binding them all together.
Which brings us to Section 5, Mastering Multicellular Joints. This is our final and, frankly, most advanced lesson of this explainer. This is how you win wars, aspirants.
To bridge the gap from an individual sigil to those higher classes we just talked about, you must utilize joints. Joints act as an invisible nervous system. They allow you to establish telepathic and elemental links with compatible teammates. When you bond your sigils together through these nerves, you evolve from a unicellular fighter into a multicellular powerhouse. Your sigil can literally act as an immense amplifier for your teammates' capabilities. It's a total game changer.
Let's look at how collaborative joints dynamically expand your capabilities in practice. You can establish them through abstract ideals or through elemental affinities. For instance, look what happens when Arlene's efficient multitasking ideal, which grants her incredibly wide data gathering vision, overlaps with Concordia's magnitude ideal, which grants immense range. Together, they achieve the coordinated assault mode, allowing for devastating long-range precision strikes on literally any target Arlene can see. We also see elemental joints at play, like Sand's fire cape, perfectly fusing with Concordia's telekinetic wind arrows to unleash the highly explosive fire volley technique.
So, just to recap those 3 perfect examples of multi-knight team techniques synthesized for you. We have the coordinated assault mode born from fused abstract ideals, the fire volley technique born from fused elements, and the neuron bonding trait, which allows for instantaneous telepathic sharing of thoughts and battlefield data between knights. What all of this proves is that synchronizing both your elemental affinities and your deeply held convictions is the ultimate key to battlefield supremacy. So, as we wrap up this study guide, I'm going to leave you with your final exam question to ponder before you step out onto the training grounds. Review the steps, check your balance, prepare to form those crucial joints with your team. But above all else, what ideal will you manifest to protect the dream realm? Take this knowledge, find your conviction, and go forge a sigil the world will never forget.